Midweek Music Maelstrom's back, and I'm so excited with the guest that we have on today. I'm excited for most of my guests, but this one's pretty special because he's got some really cool things going on that were just announced, and we're going to get into all that. How's it going?
Hey there. My name is Chris, and I am the vocalist of Illuminate Me.
Illuminate Me has been on the tips of a lot of tongues lately. You guys just dropped your first single and music video, and I saw that it had over 51,000 streams on Spotify.
Yeah, it's been really weird because, we just haven't been a band for so long. And, I definitely attribute all of that to basically Oshi from Beartooth, just being on the track. Seems like a lot of Beartooth people are finding out about us, which is cool. So it's really awesome.
I'm loving seeing that you guys are gaining so much traction so quickly, but it's not always easy getting to that point. I mean, Illuminate Me was not getting this much notice early on.
No.
There were issues with the label. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, sure. The band basically formed in 2013, like early 2013. And it was a completely different lineup. A lot of the guys moved away now, and they basically all working, like they have families and things like that. So I was the only one that kind of just like stuck it out for music. I don't know, something like that. But basically, and we're all still on good terms. Love those dudes. They're all great people. But the band formed around then, and basically we toured as much as we could. We played as many local shows as we could. And eventually we picked up enough pace to get the attention of a record label, Tragic Hero Records. And they ended up signing us. And it was just like a weird situation where we released an album. And that album had some pretty decent names on it as well. Kind of like similar to this song that we just released. It had like Landon Tours from The Plot and You, Jerry Roush from Glass Cloud, and then it also had Garrett Rapp from The Color Morale. And so we got a good amount of attention on the internet because of it. But we ended up signing to the label, and they were basically like, we're going to re-release this album, but we're not going to give like any new like reason for anyone to basically buy it again if they already got it. And we were just like, okay, we're like, we're like 20 at the time. We're like, the label knows best. They know what they're doing. It didn't go over well because it got leaked everywhere by that time. And people were just like, why did we buy the album again? We already have it. So it was a really weird situation. But it was hard because we would go on tour and we just basically would get ghosted by the label 24/7. We'd be sleeping in the van, which is normal. But if we had like a van issue, or if we had like no merchandise, or promoters just wouldn't show up to some venues, basically the label would just be like, you're on your own. We don't care. And so it was rough. It had made the band at the time very, we were all really jaded. And to some extent, I still am, unfortunately. But we ended up basically just breaking up. And then now, 10 years later, we're back to doing it again. See how it's going to go.
Well, I think that's not a bad thing, being older and wiser.
Yeah, I definitely have learned a lot. And I feel like this time around, I'm more prepared because of all the lessons that I learned back then. But yeah, it was a mess. I feel like we didn't get the right amount of support that we deserved. And whether or not there may be an argument of like, you should know what contract you're signing, you should know what you're getting out of the deal that you're signing with the label. which is an argument that has been made before. We were kids, and no one was there to be like, hey, they're not doing enough for you. Hey, they're actually screwing you over. Because we figured, they have our best interest in mind. They liked us, so they're going to do what they can to help us out. And by about the third tour of just not hearing back from them, we were just like, all right, I guess this is just a lost cause at this point. But, again, it's been a while, and I felt like this band deserved a second chance. So that's why I decided to bring it back with people I love, and actually do this thing the right way this time.
I love that for you, and it seems to be going well so far. Prior to Illuminate Me, I had heard a lot of your music with You're Not Perfect.
Yes, yeah. I was in a band. It's the same members, actually. It's me, Kyle, and Ian. And Kyle plays guitar and Ian plays drums. They're brothers. And they are like my best friends in the world. They are the nicest, most talented people I've ever met. And they're just always down for like anything, basically. So I was like, hey, I might bring back Illuminate Me. And they were immediately just like, let's do it. Let's fucking go. So I was like, cool. All right. I'm glad that wasn't weird. So yeah, we were in You're Not Perfect for a while, and it was fun, but and I love music like that heavy and that aggressive, but I still didn't feel like I was doing what I was meant to be doing. And since Illuminate Me broke up all those years ago, this is basically like the away. It just feels more true to who I am, and it always just was in the back of my head, like, Illuminate Me was something that should be, I don't know, given a real shot, I guess.
Well, I'm so glad you did. And it also gave me the opportunity, because I was not familiar with Illuminate Me prior to the last single. And it did get me listening to some of the older stuff. When I was taking a shower before we did this interview, I actually had Crawl Space on.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I always like to kind of give a listen to the musicians I'm interviewing. And I still think that the older Illuminate Me has got some zing. I'm feeling it.
Thanks. Thank you. It was, yeah, I could definitely, it's funny because I've been revisiting our earlier work too, here and there. And that EP specifically was about, so I got into this like crazy bad car accident. I honestly am trying to remember the year. It was probably like 2012, I think, where me, my girlfriend at the time, and our friend we all almost died. It was like ridiculously bad. Our friend was in the back seat. We were driving home at like 3 a.m, and it was Memorial Day, so probably terrible idea. They always say not to do that just because there's people who drink and drive.
I hate Memorial Day. I'm born the last week of May, and if it falls on a Monday, everyone is at the Memorial Day cookouts, and no one wants to hang out with me.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to basically get another reason to get drunk or party. And yeah, we were driving back at like 3 a.m because we were in Orlando visiting our friend's family, I think. This is so long ago, but I just remember driving back. Our friend's in the back seat. She doesn't have a seatbelt on, so we get hit by this drunk driver blasting through a red light. We just go spinning out, fall in a ditch, or land in a ditch, and our friend completely almost got paralyzed from the neck down. It was like really, really intense. Yeah, we had to get the ambulance. She was screaming her head off because of how much pain she was in. I remember getting out and just like literally almost falling down just because of how dizzy we were. And so we ended up making it out. Everyone ended up being okay. Our friend was not paralyzed, very, very close to being though. But thankfully she wasn't. And we ended up suing because they were like just they tried denying that they even did. They were literally like so messed up when they walked up to us. They were like, "What happened?" And I thought the person that asked me what happened was like just a bystander. And I was like, I don't know, we got hit by like someone who ran a red light, and they were just like, "Oh no, our light was green." And the cop was there. Like the cop that ended up reporting the whole thing was on the corner and saw the whole thing. So I was just like, okay, whatever. I can't talk to you right now. I'm gonna go talk to the cop because clearly you're messed up. So, anyways, sorry, I ramble a lot. The EP is kind of a concept EP based off of that experience. It's about a drunk driver that kills someone on his way home one night and then hides the body in his crawl space. And the girl that he kills basically comes back and like haunts him and kind of like ruins his life. Yes, yeah. Yeah. So that's like that last song, Crawl Space. If you hear like the ending lyrics, like 1, 2, I'm coming for you. One, that's a reference from Freddy Krueger, but also it's like sort of the same vibe. Like she's coming back to haunt him and basically get revenge, I guess you could say.
And I know there are some changes going on, but you are also bassist in the band that your wife fronts.
Yes. So we were called Peachy. We're changing the name. I don't know if she wants me to say the name.
There's time for that later.
Okay.
Peachy is being rebranded, but
yes.
We're referring to it in past tense as Peachy because we're talking about the things you did previously.
Correct. Yes. So yeah, I play bass in that band as well. And she is insanely talented and a lot more talented than I am. So everyone needs to listen to them. To us, I guess, technically.
So what has that experience like for you, going from being the frontman to taking a backseat as the bassist?
Really awesome, because I get like crazy stage fright. So usually when I perform as a front person, I usually take a few shots before going on stage because I need to like loosen up. As playing bass, I feel like that pressure is a little lifted off my shoulders. So I'm like, right. Hey, I'm just a bassist, which yeah. And no offense to any bassist or anything, but I feel, at least personally, the pressure is off of me.
A little offense to the bassist, because you also know about a super secret unannounced project I'm working on that might offend a few bassists.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be cool though. I'm really excited for it. As a bassist, I am going to get it.
No, I definitely loved the sound Kara went for. It was something that was very like MySpace throwback, but still felt fresh.
Yeah.
And I love how with there have been some hints on TikTok. Some of them are there, some of them are taken down, but about some clips from songs that are going to be on the new EP. I know you guys recently recorded, like did a full recording for that. Do you have any idea when that might come out?
I want to say early October. I want to say that.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so I have my own small business, Crypnotic. We sell candles, jewelry, pins, and we recently launched a tattoo aftercare line. So being that I am a small business owner and I do vend a lot of rock shows, I was so upset that I had another event going. I had to miss Peachy's first show. But
yeah, it's okay.
I'm definitely going to have to catch another one once you guys have all the new stuff out.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be shows before the end of this year. We're at least trying to do November or December.
And if I'm not mistaken, Illuminate Me has a show later this month at the Slam House.
Yes, August 26th. It's going to be our comeback show at the Slam House, which it's with a bunch of really awesome bands. 2 of them are touring right now. And we also have another show we just announced today in St. Pete, September 2nd. And that is with Ocean's End. as well.
I love Ocean's End. I have interviewed them. I do work very closely with Will. He has a cool new product that I'm going to be releasing on my line that is Ocean's End themed, and I can't tell you yet, but you guys need to keep a lookout for it.
That sounds so sick. Yeah, I love those guys. Like, it's going to be a free show too. So it's going to be us, Ocean's End, Level the Planet, and VRB. So it should be a great show. It looks fun.
I'm super excited. I just had texted the frontman for Tactosa, Kyle Whedon. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be interviewing Chris Murray. Is there any Tactosa update I should mention? He's like, none that I can think of, except we signed to Barbaric. So just a quick shout out. Congrats to Tactosa.
Yeah.
For signing to Barbaric Brutality. There is another interview up if you want to go look at that. I am going to link in the description the music video for Illuminate Me's I Have No Mouth. And I'm super excited for that. The other thing that I need you guys to know, super, super important, is there is going to be a zine, Scary Neighbor. So please fill us in on that because I am dying to know more.
So I always wanted to like, in my, I guess like when I was younger, I always wanted to start a record label. But the older I got, the more I felt like, one, it's a little out of my realistic possibilities right now. And two, I just feel like I could do something a little bit more to like directly help local bands instead of just trying to like find the one that I like the most. I want to promote everyone. Like I loved when I went to my first show. It felt like there was a really, really big community revolving around the local scene. There'd be magazines and compilations, like CDs with like 10 different bands on them, and like posters and like clothing lines. And it felt like there was an actual community. I'm not saying that there isn't one now, but I just feel like there's a little bit less of one than it used to be.
It's not quite like as in your face as it used to be.
Yeah, and I miss that because when I was a kid, I was just like, oh my God, I felt like I found this like whole new world that I just felt like I fit in better than the normal world. And so I basically wanted to do a DIY zine where I could put all the local bands I love all around Florida and then just print it out, and just pass them out either at shows, put them in breweries, put them in comic book shops and record stores. And it's just going to be really DIY. Go to FedEx, just print copies and just see what happens and just try to get the word out more. I know like physical things, it's weird because like, you try to tell yourself like, oh, well, people can just go online and go to Spotify and they can listen to it. And I'm like, I know, but there's something, I always also try to tell myself there's something special about having something physical in your hand, even if it's like not, I don't know, doesn't logically make sense anymore. To me, it still makes it more special.
I'm right there with you. I also feel like that's also part of like millennial nostalgia.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Because like a lot of younger people maybe don't have a CD player. Like, what is a boombox?
Right, exactly.
But it's also like, because I'm a huge bookworm and I have books and I've maybe read like 25% of them, but I love having them on my shelves, especially when you've got like a nice cover. And I feel like it's the same. Like, there's something about that like album cover artwork, being able to like flip through the leaflet. And like the first time I listened to an album, I made sure like I knew every lyric. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's what you did. You took that home, you popped it in, you read along to the song. Like,
it was a whole experience. Like it didn't feel like, especially now, because I know like you can add lyrics to like a song on Spotify and things like that, but I never checked that shit. I never, and unless I really like a song, even now, like I have songs I've listened to for the past 15 years and I haven't looked them up on like Google what the lyrics are. Like I know from what I hear, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, I didn't know he said it that way. I thought it was a different word he said or they said. And I'm like, but when I had the booklets, like you're saying, like I would read every page. You know what I mean? Like 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, every page, you know, just like knowing it front to back. And now it's like, I know people can still have those experiences in their own way. I just feel like there's something special about that we should still have in music.
Which brings me to Punk Rock Saves Lives. So I know I kind of got you a little familiar with the nonprofit. Punk Rock Saves Lives kind of keeps in with the punk community. They're a nonprofit that puts on a lot of benefit shows at Lollapalooza. They were doing everything from signing people up for the bone marrow registry to giving out Narcan, fentanyl test strips, GHB test coasters, pregnancy tests and condoms. Like they're really out here trying to make a difference. And one thing that I want to do is I'm going to be doing a raffle giveaway possibly next month with a bunch of physical media from different punk bands, smaller local punk bands, a couple out in Texas. And we're going to be doing a raffle, and each raffle ticket will be a $3 donation to Punk Rock Saves Lives.
That's awesome.
And if you screenshot the donation that you made and post and tag, that's an extra virtual raffle ticket. And we're going to have a lot of physical media. We will have CDs from Lot Lizards. We'll have, shirts. We're also going to get a vinyl from The Horribles, which were also our very first interview on Midweek Music Maelstrom. And we want to make a difference. So part of what Crypnotic is doing is we're going to get some more physical media into your hands while helping out a really great organization that is out there changing lives.
Hell yeah. That sounds amazing.
And then I might do something similar with like a metal theme. But one thing at a time. I'm an army of one, so I can't do every project that I want right away.
Hey, you're doing a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's really impressive.
I'm trying, and thank you for being so supportive. I know we had talked a little before the interview, and we seem to be on board with all the stuff that we're trying to do to help boost the local scene. So it's great to have you in my corner.
Hell yeah, likewise. And yeah, I agree. It's refreshing to see a lot more people like wanting to do the same kind of same thing. So it's really cool.
I'm so stoked for that. Now, do you have maybe any advice that you would give to someone who feels like they're just treading water in the local music scene, that their band isn't gaining traction?
I'd say the biggest thing, because where to begin? Depends on the band and the artist and what exactly the issue that they're in. If it's just simply like we play shows, but it doesn't seem like enough people like us or care about us, because I've been used to that for years. I'd say try to give back to the scene. Don't try to just be a part of it. I feel like there's a lot to be said about like, support other bands. Don't just expect people to support your band. Buy the merch. Share the new songs from your friends. Do whatever you can to make sure that everyone is successful. Because I feel like when you do that and you're not just solely focusing on yourself, you'll end up, ironically, probably getting the support that you were looking for. Because I think that this is it should be a community-based thing. It shouldn't just be well, why is so-and-so's band getting these opportunities, but I'm not? It's like, hey, it's a crapshoot, man. At the end of the day, just be out there doing what you love and support other people who are doing what they love.
I love that. That's solid. What would you say is the writing process for Illuminate Me? Like a lot of bands have they either just wing it or they're really dedicated to getting a certain vibe. Like how do you go about, okay, this is what I want the next track for Illuminate Me to sound like?
A lot of it is very influences from back when I was younger, like way younger, that aren't necessarily like popular. I've always been a fan of like bands like Every Time I Die, really early Norma Jean. Frank Iero has a side project, Leathermouth, that I absolutely have been obsessed with ever since finding them way back in the day. Yeah, and they are very like the fast aggressive like punk kind of sound. And so I get a lot of like my personal influence from that. Just very fast aggressive, chaotic. I'd say when it comes to writing, because we did these songs with our producer Logan, I would just tell him like whatever he brought to me or whatever as like a whole we were brought with, I would just be like, just make it crazier. Just make it whatever you think is crazy, just turn it up 10 times more. You know, just and so I personally, yeah, at least for me, I just try to be as ridiculous as possible with the music because that's the type of shit I love listening to anyway. So yeah, I don't know if that answers it, but
That's great.
Okay,
What
cool.
would you say has been your most interesting or weirdest experience playing a show?
Oh man. Let me think on this one.
This is my favorite question. I ask it every interview.
Okay. I have a couple. I'm trying to think of this one. Okay. So we were playing, and again, this is probably like 8 years ago now, but we were playing a venue in, I want to say, South Carolina. I'm pretty sure. And this guy, it was a hardcore show and a metal show, but this guy brought his dog with him to the show, which I know sometimes I'm like, I get it. Like if you have a service dog, it wasn't a service dog at all. It was just his dog. Um, and people were like throwing down the pit, and he would start like yelling at people and getting mad at them, being like, "Yo, like watch out for my dog." And it got into this like huge, like big drama fest, basically. And at the end of the show, I just remember him coming up to our guitarist and being like, "Dude, you almost fucking like hurt my dog." And our guitarist was just like, "Why are you bringing your dog to a hardcore metal show, dude? Like, this probably isn't the best place for your dog." I think that was probably the weirdest situation we had.
Just because I have to ask, what kind of dog was it?
From what I remember, it was like a lab mix, like some sort of like yeah. It reminded me of like a lab. That's the best way I describe it. Just like a lab mix.
Oh my God. And I want to say thank you. I know that you have also discovered my love of Catfight Coffee. I did send you and your wife some. I think I sent you the Night of the Living Dead and the Tura Satana blend. And that has been my addiction. And I'm going to try to get some people to try some at the Tampa Bay Coffee and Art Festival at the Noise Box. I will be a vendor there. And definitely, if you're not familiar, Catfight Coffee is owned by AC Slade. He is the guitarist in the Misfits. He is former touring bassist for Joan Jett, and he also has his projects AC Slade and the Dark Party. He has been in the Murder Dolls, and he also has a Murder Dolls coffee for them. And I'm out right now, but he does have a fantastic Alice Cooper coffee that I am just in love with. And because I'm a fan of puns, I would recommend the Catapult Espresso.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So, really love, punk music. I would give some of his stuff a listen. I am on his Patreon for the Creep Core, so I get exclusive video access behind the scenes to the coffee being made, new merch drops. And if you follow Catfight on Instagram, Cattail Hour, every Sunday, he does different giveaways when you place an order. So you'll definitely want to tune into those. I love them, Got to rep that Alice Cooper Catfight goodness.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that coffee was really good. We loved it.
All right, I'll definitely send you some more because you guys have to try the Alice Cooper and the Murder Dolls. I promise it's worth your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
So I really appreciate you giving me the time, not only to do this interview, but really to be on board with everything that Crypnotic is trying to do to help musicians. We are partnering with Ocean's End, Bear Within Us. We want to get some stuff done for Tactosa and the new Peachy. And some of that hasn't been announced, but it will be sooner than you think. And I just want to thank everyone that, tunes in these interviews. I'll have links in the description for Illuminate Me, Punk Rock Saves Lives, Catfight, and Crypnotic. And I really encourage you just to go check out some of the previous interviews. A lot of them are punk and metal bands. If there is someone that you think their band would be a good fit for an interview, hit me up on social media. I really want to get people finding new music. And when you can support a local band and also find music that you love, that's just twice as great.
Hell yeah. Agreed.
All right, so signing off, and this has been Chris Murray. We love him to death. Please go check out the Illuminate Me link in the description. Till next time, guys.